Maria's morning had been a dumpster fire, until a stranger handed her a walking stick. Not just any stick, carved with tiny flamingos, absurd yet lit. 52, she'd spent years side-eyeing neighbors over hedges, but this was Vancouver weirdness its finest. Next thing she knew, she was leading a ragtag walk club from community center, her flamingo stick tapping a rhythm past disputed rosebushes and silent driveways. Each step softened edges. Who knew belonging could start with something so silly, and so stubbornly kind? Maria's morning had been a dumpster fire, until a splinter of sunlight caught her grandmother's walking stick propped by door. Carved cherry wood, smoothed by decades of grip. 52 years old, and she still felt like the clumsy kid tripping over sidewalk cracks, only now her stumbles came in form of neighborly spats, Mrs. Kwan's recycling bin accidentally left on her petunias, Raja's bass shaking her teacups midnight. Vancouver's rain couldn't wash away tension clogging their street. But today, she gripped that stick like a lifeline and laced up her sneakers. Hesitated. What if they laughed? What if she was just another busybody with a clipboard and a frown? Fear slithered in, a shadow she'd carried since her divorce, dread of being irrelevant, a ghost in her own community. She knocked on doors anyway. By sunset, 6 neighbors shuffled behind her, a ragtag parade of mismatched umbrellas and hesitant small talk. Maria led them past Community Center's mural, its colors bleeding vibrant under drizzle. Walking club, she'd called it, like it was no big deal. But with each step, shoulders loosened. Raj admitted his insomnia. Mrs. Kwan confessed loneliness since her husband passed. Maria's stick tapped a rhythm against pavement, steady as her heartbeat. Turned out, conflict melted when folks moved together, no agendas, just sneakers scuffing wet concrete, occasional clumsy step met with laughter. By third lap, someone brought Timbits. Someone else hummed "O Canada." And Maria. She wasn't a ghost. She was spark that lit dam block. Maria's morning had been a dumpster fire, until a rogue walking stick clattered onto her porch. She'd tripped over it, sending her grocery bag airborne, eggs splattering like abstract art. 52 years old and still fumbling like a teen, she'd groaned, but something about that stick felt like a nudge. Carved with faint maple leaves, it whispered move. Vancouver's drizzle couldn't dampen her curiosity. She grabbed it, testing its weight, and wandered toward Mount Pleasant Community Center, where a neon flyer slapped her in face, literally. Wind had other plans. Neighborhood walks, stride and solve. Below, a handwritten addendum, no drama, just steps. She snorted. Her upstairs neighbor's bass-heavy feud had kept her awake for weeks. Maybe this was fate with a sense of humor. Inside, a rainbow of sneakers tapped impatiently. Retirees, young parents, even a barista still in her apron, all buzzing like a hive with one queen, Lois, 78, in head-to-toe tie-dye, doling out laminated route maps like a general. Left foot, right foot, repeat, she announced. And if you've got beef, walk it off, she hesitated, but Lois thrust a map into her hands. Sticks a sign, honey. Literally. First walk was a comedy of errors. Maria's knees creaked, her pacing uneven, but Lois matched her stride, tossing out wisdom like candy. See that blue house? Used to be a meth lab. Now it's a knitting circle. Progress. By mile 2, Maria's upstairs neighbors, turns out they were here too, fell into step beside her. One admitted bass was stress-induced insomnia, other hadn't realized walls were that thin. A park bench summit later, they agreed on quiet hours. Simple. Human. Walking stick became her anchor, its maple leaves a reminder that roots grow deeper when shared. Weeks in, woman led her own route, past cherry blossoms and a mural of laughing elders. Her side, a teen griped about his landlord. Creator handed him stick. Your turn to steer. By summer, club was lit. They'd mediated dog park disputes, reunited lost pets, even inspired a pop-up sidewalk library. Maria's old anxieties, too old, too awkward, melted like morning fog over English Bay. Lois winked her during their 100th walk. Told ya. Feet move, hearts follow. One evening, Maria found a new stick on her porch. Younger neighbors had carved it with tiny houses, linked like hands. No note needed. She grinned, propping it beside door. Tomorrow's walk awaited. Maria's morning had been a dumpster fire, until a splintered walking stick caught her eye by curb. 52 years of Vancouver drizzle had taught her two things: never trust a sunny forecast, and most neighbor spats boiled down to someone not feeling seen. She snatched up stick, its nicks whispering stories of stubborn climbs, and marched toward community center before second-guessing could sink in. Her neighborhood walk club had started as a joke, middle-aged women powering through rain like it was a personal insult, but lately, it had become something else. A lit fuse for petty disputes. Mrs. Kowalski's hedge clippings invading Nguyen's petunias. A slow loop around Trout Lake, grievances softening with each step. Guy and 3B blasting polka on holy hours. 3 blocks of shared gripes turned into a plan for soundproofing tips. Still, doubt gnawed her. What if this was just busy work for people with too much time? Woman shoved thought aside, gripping her stick like it held answers. Age hadn't made her patient, it had made her stubborn. So when new flyers went up about a parking war between yoga studio and bakery, she didn't sigh, she plotted a route. By third Thursday, even crustiest skeptics showed up. Maybe it was curiosity, maybe free coffee, but boots hit pavement. She led, stick tapping a rhythm against concrete, her knees protesting like grumpy toddlers. Steps turned into stories, stories into solutions. Someone suggested shared parking hours. Another joked about trading cinnamon buns for downward dogs. Tension unraveled, stitch by stitch. Later, leaning against a lamppost, Maria smirked. Who knew a stick and some schlepping could outshine city council meetings? Not bad for a woman whose highlight reel included surviving hot flashes and a questionable perm. She twirled her walking stick, now more badge than crutch, and eyed next block over. Plenty more steps to take. Maria's morning had been a dumpster fire, until a rogue walking stick caught her eye. Left leaning against a bench outside her Vancouver Community Center, its carved maple handle seemed to wink her. 52 years old and tired of playing peacekeeper between bickering neighbors over fence lines and barking dogs, she snatched it up. If life handed her chaos, she'd march right through it. By sunset, she'd taped handwritten flyers to every lamppost, neighborhood walk club, settle beefs one step at a time. Skeptics scoffed. Mrs. Kowalski from 3B muttered about hippie nonsense, but showed up anyway, arms crossed, lips pursed. Creator didn't flinch. With that stick as her baton, she led a ragtag crew down leafy streets, pointing out cherry blossoms instead of property lines. Halfway through, magic struck. A viral shot, captured by a teen on a skateboard, showed woman mid-stride, stick raised like a conductor, sunlight haloing her silver curls. By morning, local news dubbed her sidewalk diplomat. Community centers flooded with requests for conflict walk workshops. Even Mrs. Kowalski, now clutching a homemade muffin, admitted, didn't think stomping around would fix my beef with Jeff's yappy terrier. But damn if it ain't working. Maria grinned, twirling her stick. For once, she wasn't just mediator, she was spark. And as laughter bubbled up between former foes, one thought lit her up: I finally belong here. Turns out, all it took was guts, a stick, and a little pavement therapy to turn sidewalks into common ground. Who knew peacekeeping could be this lit? Maria's morning had been a dumpster fire, until a rogue walking stick clattered onto her porch. That splintered maple pole became her accidental scepter, her unplanned power move. By week's end, she'd rallied 7 neighbors for what started as a gripe session disguised as a stroll. Sidewalks became mediation rooms. Petty squabbles over trash bins or rogue hedges dissolved with each step, replaced by shared laughter over Vancouver's cherry blossoms or that one guy who power-walked in a dinosaur costume. Her walking stick, once just a splintery afterthought, now tapped rhythms of change, guiding stragglers, punctuating punchlines, even prodding Mr. Chen's terrier away from Mrs. Okafor's prize roses. Maria's odd habit of humming ABBA during uphill climbs turned into club's anthem. By month 3, their ragtag crew had morphed into a lit force, 30 strong, spanning ages 22 to 94, solving disputes before they brewed. Community centers begged them to host workshops. Maria, 52 and suddenly neighborhood's accidental guru, realized magic wasn't in grand gestures but in motion: left foot, right foot, repeat. Rivalries became potluck invites. That stick. Now a baton, passed to teens mapping safer routes for night walks. Her life, once cluttered with silent fuming, unfolded like a well-worn path, messy, meandering, magnificent. Lace up, your street's waiting.